Why did Congress supporters land in BJP in Tripura? They were so afraid. They knew that Congress will never do any opposition because in Tripura they have a problem, but in Delhi Congress needs left. One of the Maulana says, हमें परमिशन की क्या जरूरत है, हमने तो धरना दिया है. अभी तो देखो मोर्चा निकालते हैं तो क्या होता है, ग्लोटिंग ओवर इट. बद में मत बोलना, ये गांधी मार्केट बंद करना है, बाद में मत बोलना, अगर कुछ हो गया तो भैया हमको मत बोलना. दिस काइंड ऑफ ओपन थ्रेट. They wanted to prosecute Bala Sahib Thackeray, but government didn't give them permission. Then they had opposed Taslima Nasreen, a Bangladeshi writer. They protest against Bush visit. They protested against Rohingya. Of course, 2012, you know, they wanted to protect Rohingyas. That I've already talked about at length. And they are in 2013. The crowds they instigated ended up in killing 2 policemen in Bhiwandi. In 2015, there was fatwa against A.R. Rahman for giving music to an Iranian movie on Muhammad, which won universal accolade. So he had to withdraw. Then they protested against USA again in 2018. They protested against triple talaq. In fact, they also protested against corona vaccine, if I'm not wrong. There was some kind of fatwa. And for all this, what they are trying to do, they're trying to become the new Thekedars of Islam. Right. They're trying to overshadow others.
Namaste, good evening, welcome to Chitty Media. There has been a lot that has transpired ever since the violence against Hindus took place in Bangladesh. Violence broke out in Tripura, and now violence has broken out in Maharashtra's Amravati and a few other places in Maharashtra too. Now there is a lot of blame game happening. One community is blaming the other, and the other community is blaming the BJP and the RSS and the Hindu groups, so to speak, for the violence in many of these regions. What we are doing today here is to break down that chronology and to actually see the facts of the incidents that have happened and the larger patterns behind them. To discuss this, we have Dr. Ratan Sharda with us. Dr. Sharda, thank you so much. Namaste. How are you? First of all, let's take this one by one. Let's talk about Tripura. Now, what journalists in the left ecosystem are saying is that the Hindu groups had been protesting, and then it slowly led to a violence where even a mosque was broken and Quran was burnt, and which is why there has been a reaction from the Muslim community. So the blame is on the Hindu groups who started all of this in the first place.
Well, Sharan, in fact, it is always very easy for leftists who have lost Tripura very badly to create ruckus. Tripura was the only place where Hindus rose against the violence against Bangladesh because next door neighbors, because the people from Bangladesh, Hindus, Buddhists from Bangladesh ultimately end up in Tripura and some other neighboring places. In fact, Tripura is the worst sufferer in terms of people moving out of Bangladesh, East Pakistan, erstwhile. They changed the entire demographic pattern of Tripura, we know that. It has taken a lot of effort to bring it back to to normalcy, and also in terms of, say, resolve the issue of Chakmas who came from Bangladesh and other places. So this particular urge of Hindus to protest against what was the atrocities on Hindus in Bangladesh was a natural corollary. Do Hindus have no right to protest? That is the first question you must ask. If they have a right to protest, I don't think everybody else should object to that, because Hindus hardly come on the streets. Here it was because next door to them, they could see, they could hear what was happening there. It was huge atrocity. Did anyone in secular media or even otherwise global media has really talked about the Holocaust, the rapes, and the millions of people who died in Bangladesh? No, they have simply buried the stories. So, but people who have suffered, they have certain memories, and those memories flare up when such things happen. And for that reason, they came on the street. A report that I got on 15th of November from a local person in Tripura, there were 63 protest rallies in 8 districts, and about 130,000 people participated. This is what really upset the people who never thought that Hindus can come on road and they can protest, because it's supposed to be monopoly of some other communities and some other groups. Now, what are the rallies? North Tripura 4, Unakoti 11, Dural 13, Khowai 4, West Tripura 2, Sipahi Jala 14, Gomati 7, South Tripura 8. There was no violence taken place in any of these rallies. Muslim-dominated Unakoti in Sipahi Jala, it witnessed some violence. but there was no damage to any mosque till that day. And there was huge response of Muslims to TMC rallies that have alienated Hindus. That's what the local report says. And there was also stabbing of an ABVP Karyakarta in Tripura, which has not been even reported by others. And there was no mosque vandalized, but Hindus' shops were vandalized. Border village of Kadamtal saw 2 Hindu shops burnt. Padma Bill, 5 Hindu shops. Kailasa town, Unakoti district, ABP worker has said stabbed by groups. Although he writes Muslim, I'll avoid because that is up to police to work on. Then idols were broken, murtis were broken, temples were vandalized. Even Kali immersion procession was attacked. So this is what has happened there. Now to blame Hindus for that because they came on road non-violently, say they have no right to protest for what is happening in Bengal, that is our sleeping attitude. We saw that Hindus and Buddhists continuously went on leaving Bangladesh, and population had dropped from 30% plus minus of pre-partition days, now hardly 7 to 8%. If that is the scenario, and that is how they are suffering there, we didn't speak about Bengali Hindus after the kind of violence that took place during election, after election. We would not speak for Bangladeshi Hindus, but if Tripura people stand up because they're the direct sufferers, then we have a problem. Then that is how this narrative slowly was built up, and which ended up with all the fake stories, all the fake reports. If there was a damaged mosque, why it was never photographed, why the photograph never came? You think it is such a bad situation that they can't report on that? There was a gentleman from Tripura, I believe, Tripura PCC chief, Congress Tripura PCC chief. He said, we have a team which did investigation of the entire episode in Tripura. It's not a very big state, though difficult to travel. He said, we have a report. Then when asked, where is the report? He says, it's confidential. So you have a confidential report, which you will not show to the people. You will but only keep on spreading false rumors, fake news, fake photographs, fake videos. So this is where it's ended up. So this is Tripura in a nutshell. So if there is some minor skirmish, it doesn't happen in anywhere else, if at all it has happened. Right. My basic question is, we will not speak against atrocities of Hindus, whether it's Bangladesh or East Pakistan or Bengal. But if some Hindus stand up and say enough is enough and they take a procession without hurting anybody, then suddenly world is lost and suddenly everything is communalized. Suddenly the small news travels all the way to Maharashtra and it creates havoc there, but nowhere else. Right. Did you see any violence in any other place? No. How did it happen in Maharashtra and how did it happen simultaneously in dozens of towns? Where was police from 29th October when they claimed that this kind of violence took place till the day actual Bandh and actual violence took place? Right.
Now, speaking about fake news, I mean, obviously this is what the left is also accusing of, but the journalists, the 2 young girls who were there in Tripura were, reporting on the violence, were absconding because the police wanted to take a report from them and get their statement. Now, obviously one can give them the benefit of the doubt, saying that they're young girls, they're probably intimidated by the state machinery, so to speak. So that is the reason they fled from there. But they have actually not presented any concrete evidence. They said that, check out the burned documents and you'll find the Quran there. But
in fact, one of the report I read was that they were recruits, they were interns, they were not even journalists.
Right.
So young girls, whether one girl was even an adult, I am not very sure because that is the kind of report I read. Whatever, even if they were journalists, when they said there is so much happening, they were able to convey that. Why they could not convey the photographs or videos or anything? Yeah. Everybody is speaking. None of them has produced one shred of photograph or news. In fact, Republic TV had shown the reporters going there where the mosque was intact.
Right.
So naturally, a small state which has seen worse kind of violence, worse kind of insurgency, and worse kind of abuse of human rights when people coming from Bangladesh and early Pakistan landed up in Tripura, it will be very cautious.
Right.
Why it should not be cautious?
Yes. And in fact, the hotel that these people were staying in, they wrote that they were here on work purpose, but they mentioned that they were students. So there is something, there's not a lot of clarity on whether they were actually journalists or not. Probably that particular media organization has to come out and give some clarity on this. But
what it is similar,
is also
Sharon, is similar to the so-called journalist of PFI who went to all the way to UP to report, right? So this is a very strong network. These are very strong, network people who can create any kind of false or real news change into something very, very horrific. And they can make one small incident look like, as if earth has fallen, and they can normalize huge violence into something very normal.
I'm glad you said that, because the narrative that is coming out today, or at least what the left ecosystem is accusing the BJP RSS combine of, is that what does such a big machinery that consists of such a majority that enjoys such a big support from the people of India have to be afraid of young girls who are 18, 19, and 20? It happened with Disha Ravi in Bengaluru. It happened with many other cases. You take Jadavpur University, JNU. Now it's happening in the case of Tripura as well. So to put it in their words, is the BJP or the RSS very sexist and ageist?
I would put the blame. I was about to say this, that if you believe in gender equality, believe that everybody has the right to report, work, and whatever, and then if a woman journalist is arrested, or a woman journalist writes something which is not really a true news, then why do they complain? If men and women are equal, when something goes wrong, suddenly you show you're a woman. Before that, you say we are all equal. The kind of equality we see in the JNU hostels, we know what the havoc they do with the people and what kind of language they use. And this equality, when it comes on the profession, we suddenly you remember that somebody is a woman. And whether it's a man or a woman, wrongdoing is wrongdoing. Are you saying that a woman journalist or a student can spread rumors without any evidence, but she should not be touched, or that small, young student should not be touched, but somebody else should be? So that nobody's afraid of a small young woman or whatever. We are afraid of the fake news. We are afraid of the havoc it will create, which created in Maharashtra.
Yes.
Let us admit it. During all the debates, none of the supporters of this violence ever spoke of what is happening in Maharashtra. They kept on asserting about Tripura. They said, if this is wrong, please tell us what is right. If you don't know what is right, then at least don't keep on hammering what is wrong. Right. So you have no evidence. You will throw some allegation. Then you will say, if this allegation is untrue, please prove it is true. It is like saying that when did you stop beating your wife? There is no answer. You can either say yes or no. So you will create a fake news. You will assert it is right. But when shown that it is not right, you will say, then you show what is right. So what is your responsibility? What have you done to see that there is nothing wrong in what is happening there? And why do you fan such violence? You will hide any violence in Bengali. Remember Malda? There was huge violence in Malda some years back. And the police station was torched by Malda smuggling Muslims who have a huge smuggling business there. And Mamta did not allow anybody to enter Bengal or enter Malda. In 4 days, they got the police station repainted again. And then they said, come, there is nothing wrong. Is this the way to report? Is this way to maintain law and order? What is better? Right. So you can always try moralizing when you're caught on the wrong foot and blame others. Right. We are afraid of violence that he will create. We are not afraid, or anybody is not afraid, because when RSS had no ground there, when RSS had no cadre, that they worked in Tripura Northeast without fearing communist violence, without fearing the terrorist violence supported by the church. Do you remember that 4 RSS workers were kidnapped and killed? Yeah. Never returned. Their bodies were not returned. Somebody was returned, chopped in a bad shape, not to be shown to even to the family. And none of them spoke. None of them. So life of a Hindu activist, whether he's in Northeast or Tripura or entire Northeast or in Kerala, has no value. He will not even give a cursory sympathetic note for that kind of violence. Yeah. But you will say, oh, but we are afraid of a young girl. Young girl is speaking one truth. Whether she is a student or whether she is a journalist, we don't know. And where is the agency for it which they were working? Why they're not clarifying what is happening? So this kind of accusation throwing is fine. I mean, for 30 years, Marxist people ruled Tripura with an iron hand, and nobody was even able to open mouth. You call Sunil Devsar and ask him what is the condition. Right. He had to go there and hold meetings in the night in some hidden out places to meet people, because people are so afraid. And why did Congress supporters land in BJP in Tripura? They were so afraid. They knew that Congress will never do any opposition because in Tripura they have a problem, but in Delhi Congress needs left. That was UPA times. So frustrated with that, knowing that they can't do anything, they joined BJP in a very, very secretive manner, not showing face anywhere. In that fear, even Marxists who were tired, they joined BJP. But these people are so afraid they could not hold any meeting. They could not meet openly. That is Sunil, they're asking you, bring him on the show, he'll tell you.
Right. Thank you so much. Very, very interesting facts brought out. But I was just so surprised that it was a hyper-local violence, given the fact that it was violence, regardless of what the investigation comes out with later on. But how fake news disseminated and spread hundreds of kilometers across India to the western part of Maharashtra, and now there is violence in Amravati. So do you see a pattern? Do you think this is a very
First of all, let us stop saying Amravati only. Amravati came into limelight because next day there was a procession by Hindus protesting against the violence against them a day before, 10th November. Now, if you look at the places where there's violence and stone throwing and even beating of the police, Nanded, Amravati, Malegaon, Pusat, Bhiwandi, these are places where there was attack on police, there was stoning, there was burning, there was arson, there was looting and marked looting. And most of the gatherings were without police permission. One of the Maulana says, हमें permission की क्या जरूरत है, हमने तो धरना दिया है, अभी तो देखो मोर्चा निकालते हैं तो क्या होता है, gloating over it. And if you talk of Bandh was without violence. It was in Dhule, Nagpur, Aurangabad, Mumbai, Nasik, Latur, Devghar, Akola, Kuldabad, Parbhani, Solapur, Chikli, then Bhiwandi, Gangakhed, all these places. There are some more places. These are the places which are, and it was widespread. And if you look at this half a dozen towns where there are actual violence, the counter meeting that happened on the 13th, that is what rattled the so-called secularists, and then they start action. They did not pick up any Maulana, any Raza Academy person, Shiv Sena, nobody. They picked up BJP person because he was there in the protest rally. But so you can take out a rally, you can attack people, you can attack police. The police will sit silently, government will put a tape on its face. But when other people come on the road to protest, what is happening to them? Then you suddenly wake up and you say, this is horrible, this is violence in Amravati. Sorry, in Amravati, people stood up. How long will they keep quiet? Right. So you have a problem if people stand up in Tripura and about the brethren in Bangladesh. Then you have a problem if Hindus stand up that enough abuse has been done in their name and they will stand up and protest. And then you suddenly wake up. Then suddenly, so many things happening, communal violence and blah, blah, blah. But this violence, the seeds of the violence are sown on 29th October itself. Right. 29th October, the first protest by PFI, which is supposed to be, which is the organization which paraded a person in RSS uniform beating him, which paraded a person in Yogi's uniform beating him. Why nobody spoke up? So you are encouraging violent hate crimes. But when somebody protests silently or something happens, some stone throw happening, somebody will find that, this is communal violence, BJP is banning violence. So on 20th October, on 2nd November, they gave a call for Maharashtra Bandh. And how they gave a call, if you see the video, there is a Maulana type of trader who is saying, बद में मत बोलना, ये गांधी मार्केट बंद करना है, बाद में मत बोलना, अगर कुछ हो गया तो भैया हमको मत बोलना. This kind of open threat. This is how Bandh was enforced. And then on 8th November, there was a morcha by Rashtriya Yuva Muslim Morcha. From 20th to 12th November, there were protests all over Maharashtra. Where was the government? Was there any disturbance done by anybody from other than the Muslim community, which is supposed to be aggrieved by what happened in Tripura? Far off 3,000 kilometers. No other state has a problem. This has a problem because the leading that particular charge of Raza Academy, which infamously did the Azad Maidan riots, where police women were molested, where 2 people got killed, where 50 policemen were injured, where Amar Jawan Jyoti was defiled. And during all these days when all this was happened, when all these videos were fully circulated, in local private YouTube news channels. None of them they are still on the YouTube. I have seen them. If they are taken out now, there are enough records that they were there. How could they keep on spreading lies on YouTube channels, openly giving the names, everything? They are all properly labeled YouTube channels, not some, a rogue person doing it. With proper Maulanas and Maulis coming and telling what is wrong, kya ho raha hai ji, ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai, aapko utarna padega maidan mein, what not? What is police doing for all these days? The one protest rally in Amravati and everybody wakes up. Suddenly there is debate on the news are and this and that. But for those 11 videos have been identified very clearly, which were shown very clearly from where these videos were picked up and how they were handled. Where was police all these days? Where was this famous fake news fighters? Where was the fact checker? If the famous fact checker, without checking it, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi talks about it, Samajwadi party talks about it, Congress talks about it, then there is something terribly wrong with secular ecosystem.
Yeah.
There is something very terribly wrong with the entire bias against Hindu society.
Right.
If you speak against both the communities, if there is some violence, I can understand. But oppression, killing, rape of women in Bengal, Bangladesh, nothing will be spoken about. All fake news for 12 days, nothing will be talked about. But one incident in Amravati and suddenly it flares up and Hindutvadi, blah, blah, whatever. You can go on spreading false news. Why these people are not arrested? Are they arrested now? I do not know. There are some Shiv Sena Shonwalas who come on TV who have no clue what is happening in Maharashtra. They say 100 लोगों को पकड़ लिया है जी और क्या करेंगे हम सबको पकड़ेंगे भैया. For 12 days they were creating havoc, spreading fake news openly on the YouTube channels. But nobody spoke. Shiv Sena leader goes with the same fake news on the rally and talks all bullshit there, and nobody objects. Shiv Sena the government has Shiv Sena. Where are they?
Yeah.
Total lack of responsibility. All you do is you have this typical Basuli kind of things happening where the Home Minister vanishes, Police Commissioner vanishes, top officer under arrest, and they have a call to say there is a law and order problem. Right. Situation is much more worse than what we can imagine, because Raza Academy, will look at its record, is horrendous. We'll talk when you come to that what it exactly does. Yeah. From where does gain strength.
Yeah, we'll come to that, but thank you so much for sharing this. Now, clearly the Maharashtra government is behind the Hindu activists and BJP leaders and even RSS people. And many of them have been arrested too, many of them have been detained. And they say that one of the points that, I'm not sure which minister it was, but one of the ministers in the Maharashtra cabinet said that this violence has only happened where there is a non-BJP government in the state. And you don't see the same kind of violence in Uttar Pradesh or Karnataka or any other state for that matter.
Now they were saying that this entire excess been designed by BJP. They are snatching the credit from Raza Academy, who is their friend. And secondly, if so many Maulanas and Mullahs and the Muslim population is under the sway of BJP RSS, they should be really worried. The Shiv Sena and NCP Congress monopoly on their monopoly on Shiv Sena's attempt to create some vote bank out of those people, and BJP running away the clothes is something that should worry about. And BJP should be clapping that they have got such huge support in this Muslim majority areas or Muslim dominant areas where on their call they can get thousands of people on the roads.
Yeah.
These people never had the gall. The Raza Academy never did one mischief during BJP government. Why? And why Raza Academy always becomes active during Congress rule? So do you say Raza Academy belongs to BJP? Are you trying to say that? Are you trying to say all those people spewing venom on the streets of Maharashtrian towns, they belong to BJP? People are not mad. People are not idiots. People are not fools. Right. So by speaking such language, they are only trying to discredit themselves. And Raza Academy, on the day there are photographs, they are meeting NCP ministers, MLAs, MPs, one MLC, one MLA, and one Congress leader on the date of 12th November. Imagine. And this Raza Academy is such an outdated organization living in 7th century. It takes out morcha against Saudi Arabia for allowing people to see movies or allowing women to drive. It takes out protest morcha against America or Saudi Arabia because they have tie-up with Israel. So these people are totally outlandish, out of sync with today's world, and they are promoted by these people. 1 year old photograph of their chief of Raza Academy meeting chief minister to discuss CAA. So you promote such people, you give importance to such people, and you will not talk to the common Muslim leaders, and then you will blame BJP for that. Why did BJP not call the same Maulana for CA discussions? And why did they call? So you give respectability to them.
Right.
There are so many such news, and for all this, did the court pass the judgment about recovering money from Raza Academy for the riots and damages was done? Do you know that one woman who wrote a poem in the police magazine, in-house magazine, about the horrendous violence and molestation of police women during that Azad Maidan riots, was asked to seek apology. She apologized and she was removed from that particular place or transferred, something like that. So that is the kind of hold these outdated organizations, these orthodox Stone Age organizations have on this government.
Right.
Nobody ever got the money paid, whether Congress or even after that 5 years BJP and 22 years of Congress, and then they go and meet all these leaders, and then they say, okay, this is BJP game.
Right. First, it was Wahhabism in Afghanistan, and then you see
these people took out morchas. I'll tell you what morchas were. It is very interesting what kind of
please
morchas.
to give us a brief of what Raza Academy and their activities were for the benefit of our viewers.
I will not get into even activities. I will just say, look at the kind of they are pressing for a new bill to protect Prophet Muhammad's reputation. They are seeking Sar Dhar Se Juda for a Muslim person who has written a book about Muhammad. He is not a BJP RSS person. He is not a Hindu. He is a Muslim. And then they took out a fatwa against Salman Rushdie. In 1990, they criticized USA for attacking Iraq. They volunteered to send 1 lakh volunteers to save the shrines in Iraq. In 1992, they protested against diplomatic relation with Israel by India. 1996, protest against Samna about something written about Islam, for which Samna had to apologize. They wanted to prosecute Bala Sahib Thackeray, but government didn't give them permission. Then they had opposed Taslima Nasreen, a Bangladeshi writer. They protest against Bush visit. They protested against Rohingya. Of course, 2012, you know, they wanted to protect Rohingyas. That I've already talked about at length. And they are, in 2013, the crowds they instigated ended up in killing 2 policemen in Bhiwandi. In 2015, there was fatwa against A.R. Rahman for giving music to an Iranian movie on Muhammad, which won universal accolade. So he had to withdraw. Then they protested against USA again in 2018. They protested against triple talaq. In fact, they also protested against corona vaccine, if I'm not wrong. There was some kind of fatwa. And for all this, what they are trying to do, they're trying to become the new Thekedars of Islam.
Right.
They're trying to overshadow others. And for this, they have got, otherwise how, and you see the trending was done by people in alliance with PFI, some Congress supporters, some leftist organization. That is how all these trends against Tripura were also multiplied.
Right. First, it was Wahhabi Islam, then Deobandi school. Now we have the Barelvi school, where radical Barelvi Islam has become
Barelvi,
a threat.
There is something very amusing of Barelvi. Raza Academy is supported by Barelvis, right? And Barelvis were the first ones who said, we want separate Pakistan. They supported idea of Pakistan.
Right.
Secondly, the big butcher of Bengal, Suharwardi, was a Barelvi Sufi clan. Right. So to understand what is so-called Sufi, what is Barelvi, let us be clear that whether it's Deoband or Barelvi, they may have different methodology, but ultimately they end up having a violent race and fighting for very orthodox Islam.
No, it's so ironic because one of the biggest political threats to Imran Khan in Pakistan have become the Barelvis now in the form of Tehreek-e-Labbaik. Yes. And here in India, we are keeping on witnessing this for the last 70 years. And now there is a clear pattern that has emerged over the years. But I'll throw this back at you, Dr. Sharda. What is the BJP government doing, or what should we do? Now, it was the PFI and then the SFI. Continuously, they have butchered and they have murdered and they have raped many BJP RSS karyakartas and people in general. So it is high time that we ban such violent and terrorist organizations, isn't it?
See, Simi was banned. The ban had, then the people mobbed into another organization. They are most part of the PFI now. These bans have to be recommended by the state governments, but the Kerala government, the left government in Kerala has not asked for ban of PFI. As I said, most hate propaganda, parades and all that happened under the PFI. They have floated a political party which has an alliance with Congress, allowed Rahul Gandhi to win in Wayanad. If this is a situation where now there is an alliance of Marxists with PFI and SIDPI like a people, but they raise fingers against smaller organizations. Indian Muslim League people have been killed by these people because they had an alliance with Congress. And it is Indian Muslim League which got respectability first by the Congress in way back in 1958, 59, if I'm not wrong with the date. And so there are multiple groups. They are going with the biggest group. They have issued an internal document saying Jamaat-e-Islam is the biggest risk radicalizing Kerala youth, the Muslim youth. But what is PFI then? Has not the government NI given various proof that people who have gone to ISI, Syria, taken women there, girls there with something other text, they are from the same PFI and ISI groups? If that is the situation, then how long will communists deny their alliance with these people? Where Pinarani Vijay has a photograph with the Madani, who is the main accused in killing of 50 people in Coimbatore serial blast. So this alliance of left and the extreme orthodox and radical Islam is the new threat, and RSS is paying the price. Nobody else, and nobody is hard to speak about it. Two Sams have lost their lives in last 15 days itself, and they have said possibly SDPI corrections, but there is no other action. So central government can act. It is passing on the right information. It is having the right, it rates the people, gets the offices. If you look at the record of PFI, the number of raids done by ED and these agencies is huge. They have earned the 100 crores of Hawala contribution to PFI. They have gone and raided the Shaheen Bagh office of PFI. This is happening. But then you need state cooperation. Whether the cooperation is coming, we don't know. And as I said, ban has to be done with enough of evidence which is being collected. I'm sure government is not, silent on this. They are doing work silently, and more records as you are coming out. But it needs local support. If Mamata Banerjee can sit on dharna to protect a policeman or to save her own party man who is guilty of misconduct, etc., or Kerala Pinari can block any kind of investigation. If the judge there says that this is a place he's totally so upset with the entire game. I don't have the quote right now, where he says the place has become there is a massacre every day. He says it's a shame that police is working in a biased way. Let's go the real criminals, but catches hold of innocent people. This is on record. If this is on record, and we have got police unions in police stations, so the decisions are taken by the police unions, not by police inspectors. A police officer who caught hold of SFI members was harassed so much, and he was a Muslim. So there is total Communist Party, Marxist Party, total secular. They are totally secular criminals. They will kill ABP people, RSS people, Muslim League people, Congress people, CPI people. There is a whole list there, which are on record. Whether it's their cadre, whether it's their supporters, whoever they are, but in their Raj, the biggest cache of these ISI supporters are found in Kannur, which is supposed to be party village. When you say party village, no other organization has a right to enter the village or create organization. That is why RSS gets hit so often. You cannot enter colleges if they are party colleges. Even SFI will not allow ASFI or other unions to be formed there. That is the reason three ABP workers were killed in a horrific manner. They jumped into a river. They were not allowed to come up. They were continuously stoned. Finally, they drowned. And the case was buried because there was no case. You could not make out a case. So these cruel people who have not been spared animals, women, children, now they are in alliance with an organization which believes in Islamic supremacy, which believes in triple talaq, which believes that in Ghazwa Hind, etc., which goes on to send people to the Middle East to fight a waste of a war, which has killed more Muslims than anything put together.
Right.
Millions have perished in the last 2 decades in Middle East. Who is to blame? All of them are Muslims. Did Muhammad make 2 sects? Did he say that Shia, Sunni, or 72 other firqas are created by Muhammad? Did he say that I am superior, this particular firqa is superior to somebody else? No, these are the people fighting. So when will Muslim realize that actually these factions are not created by Allah or by Muhammad, these are creations of these own selfish people, and they are fighting with each other, killing us. So where is the true
Right.
nature of brotherhood of Islam? It is not in the Islam of Muslims, brotherhood of Muslims. It is a brotherhood of one sect of certain kind of Muslims who will find everything as wrong. So he'll kill them in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Iran. This is the tragedy.
Right.
Huge tragedy, and these are the people like Raza Academy Bareilwis who want this to come into India.
Right.
That is the real danger.
The good news for the Bareilwis is that they don't have to worry about CAA and RC anymore because there are no more Hindus and Sikhs left in Afghanistan to be brought back.
Yes, and nobody spoke. Neither our great secular spoke when people, the people simply perished, disappeared, kidnapped, raped, killed, or thrown into India. Did Congress give enough people the citizenship to people even under 1955 citizenship law? Thousands of refugees were leading a horrendous life, horrible life in deserts of Rajasthan. 1 million people are in Jammu Kashmir without citizenship rights for 70 years. Nobody spoke. Nobody even knew till RSS started, shouting about it.
Right.
So these are some things that people have to understand what is happening. And when you leave people stateless, these orphans of the partition are our responsibility.
Right.
So, and when these people are finished off, the Khalistanis who croak so much, they just shut their mouth up when even a Granthi's daughter was picked up. Where is she? I don't know. When Afghanistan, they had to come back with their Param Pavitra Guru Granth Sahib from Afghanistan. Not a single Sikh left. Nobody spoke. No Khalistani spoke. And none of the seculars spoke. And now they want CA, NRC and whatnot.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Ratan Sharda. This has been extremely enlightening for me personally, and I'm sure our viewers will find this very, very useful. And this has to go across to the mass, society as well, because a lot of people have to acknowledge and take cognizance of what is happening, because this is not just a political or a communal issue, because it has national security.
This is in Sharan. This is in continued link right from 1947 to abuse or tar Hindus with a black brush on various accounts, on various accusations, saffron terror, Hindu terror, castes, oppressors, women beaters and whatnot, but none of the enlightened views of Hinduism or Hindu Dharma, which has allowed everybody to prosper in this country. It is society which ultimately gives support. It is not some constitution. It is the society's guarantee that constitution stands on. We have lowest per capita police in the world, but we have least crimes per capita because we believe in dharma. Every community has prospered, but they keep on accusing Hindus in the name of Hindu communal violence bill or CA or whatnot. You should actually, if you talk about, we should not forget about communal violence bill. Not many people know it. It had to be dropped because of huge uproar. And what was the bill? That in case of any violence, in case of any communal riot, the majority community will be responsible for the riot. And if somebody puts a complaint against you without the identity being shared or without exact details of the crime, you have to find out where you were at that time and somehow try to prove that you're not guilty. Only case where entire community was to be guilty until proved innocent. So an entire community was blackened in the name of secularism, that you are responsible, you are the violent people, you are the ones who attack the minorities. This was the status of communal violence. I request readers to go and Google for it. If this is the mindset where any Tharoor will speak, any Salman will speak, or any Rahul will speak without a shred of evidence, and what evidence is that we are not only tolerant, we have given everybody right to live peacefully, earn their living, grow, prosper, while our population in neighboring countries have vanished. What about population of minorities? It has grown by multiple bounds.
Yes.
Muslims are now much more numerous than they were anywhere else, next only to, I think, Indonesia.
Yeah.
But they will complain. They will put them in madrasa. They will not allow them to take modern education, but they will complain. So this victimhood game is going on globally, where even there is no Hindutva or Hinduism. But in India, we are the easy targets. And for this, everybody in the lobby, in the leftist secular lobby, has played its role. This demonization must stop.
Right. I think we should do a longer conversation on this because it's very interesting. And unfortunately, because this needs to go out at the earliest, I'll have to kindly excuse our audience. But Dr. Sharda, thank you so much. This has been
Thanks.
a fantastic interview. Thank you again for joining us. And viewers, please do let us know what you think in the comments below, and do subscribe to Chitti Media.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.